Wet and soggy evening. I'd like to call to order Thursday, April 18th at 7 p.m., our county board meeting. Can I please have a roll call?
James?
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 Here.
Jay?
Here. Last name.
Keebler? Kibler? Langenheim? Maxwell? McGuire?
Here.
Michaels? Mitchell? Petrie? Quisenberry? Richards? Rosales?
Here.
Schroeder?
Here.
Schwartz? Alex? Bergson? Carter? Cowart? Esri? Harper? Hartkey? Kurtz.
Here. Thank you. Let's start off. Mr. Mitchell is here with our prayer for this evening. We gather together here today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please read the notice of the meeting.
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on April 18th, 2013, 7 p.m. in the Lyle Shields Meeting Room, Brookings Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the agenda and addenda. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you please, may I have a motion to approve the notice of the meeting? So moved. Second? Second, Mr. James. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Approval, I make a motion to approve of the agenda and the addenda, please. I have Ms. Coward and Mr. Carter. Sorry, Mr. James. You know, I know you want to get on the act all the time, but it's okay. Any changes to the agenda? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, as you can see in number 6, you have the date and time of the next regular meetings of the standing committees for your information, and then Committee of the Whole on Thursday, May 14th. Then the county board meeting next month will be May 23rd. I'd like to have a motion to accept the consent agenda. Mr. Mitchell, second. Mr. James, no, Mr. James. All right, are there any discussion or removal of any consent items? I need a roll call vote, please.
James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Keebler? Langenheim?
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold it. Let's go back again. Go.
James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Langenheim? Maxwell?
Yes.
McGuire?
Yes.
Michaels? Mitchell?
Yes.
Petrie? Richards?
Not here.
Rosales?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Schwartz? Alex?
Yes.
Bergson? Okay, Carter,
Yes.
Cowart, Esri,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Hartke,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes. Thank you. Public participation is next. Remind each participant there's a 5-minute time limit with an hour for total participation. And the first, Mr. Chris Evans. Please turn on your microphone in front of you. Just hit the button in the middle.
Right there.
That's it.
Okay.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay. Wow, this is great. Okay, thank you for, again, having public participation. I like the new format. The podium was a little intimidating. I like this a lot better. Tonight I want to present the county board a couple of information packets that I've put together. The first is a series of documents that, oh, by the way, I want to first commend Deb Busey for organizing last night's public participation. Yeah, you could pass those out. That's great. Last night we met through Skype, Dr. Kalmanoff, and the public was given a chance to ask some questions of Dr. Kalmanoff as to where we were at in the jail study, and it was an excellent discussion. The public was allowed, I think, for the first time, in a kind of an open forum to ask the kind of questions they wanted to ask. And last night there was a lot of discussion about the mentally ill and housing the mentally ill in jail. And the first packet of information, which is not being passed out, this is not what I'm going to talk about right now, is a series of articles and various documents that I've compiled regarding the mentally ill being jailed. And the first part of the document is an article regarding, it was kind of disconcerting for me. I saw a News Gazette article December 8th of last year, and it ended with Tom DeFanis and the state's attorney saying that the money for programs, alternatives to incarceration, there wasn't any. I also included where exactly the public is getting this idea that the original brainstorming on dealing with our downtown Urbana jail was a $20 million project. And so I've included that document in there where the people are getting that information. But I also included in this packet of information what the taxpayers are not getting nowadays, which is a detox center at the Prairie Center. And then really important to look at is an email to Sheriff Walsh from Harmony Gurley, she is the mental health nurse at the county jail, and she describes in detail the problems with housing the mentally ill in the county jail. And included in that is a follow-up email from Harmony Gurley, who talked to the National Institute of Corrections about building a mental health pod. And Harmony shared with Sheriff Walsh that if you build a mental health pod, you're going to have more arrests for small petty crimes, and they didn't exactly advise that. And then more importantly, I think is, and also there's an email from Susan Swain in this packet she's the medical nurse, and it's pretty glaring what is going on as far as the physically ill. I don't know what when you read this document from Susan Swain, it's surprising. I have no idea what these people could possibly have, what crimes they could have committed. They are in such bad shape. And then included in this packet is a series of letters from Sheriff Dan Walsh, who does talk, I think, very heartfully about the problem with housing the mentally ill. And one of his letters is from January 29th of this year. And he pleads to have better facilities or some way to, deal with the mentally ill, as well as a letter that he wrote in 2007 where he talks about it's not a good idea to house the mentally ill in jail. In addition, there's a recent case that came up, and I don't give this out to embarrass or invade anybody's privacy, but I included a classic from January of this year of a case that's currently pending that it really illustrates the problems with or the lack of mental health facilities and mental health intervention in our county right now. And this is a case where this gentleman could have easily been intervened on over a year ago, if not sooner. It's a mystery why Carl Hospital let him out, and now he's facing a Class X felony for just saying something to a deputy. So I really, I highlight this case because I think one of the more alarming comments that were made in the article was...
Mr. Evans?
About my 5 minutes is wrapping
5
up.
minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I want to just say what you did get was a series of questions that I would hope the ILPP would address, and I'm going to leave, I've only got 4 copies of the document I just described. It's all I could afford today, so I'm just going to give the, just, if you want to look at it, I've highlighted it too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. What's,
I would like to inquire, Mr. Evans, if that is electronically available or it's only on paper?
I only brought hard copies.
that's out of order at this point. I can ask him if he... I will, absolutely. Thank you. We can. We will. Why don't I just do it? Could we have a copy? If you have the copy, we'll scan it and get it out electronically to the board. Okay? Thank you, Chris. Okay. No questions to the participants, please. We're still under our rules. If you want to speak with him, you can speak with him a little later, Lloyd, okay? Thank you. Next up is Mr. Harold Charlo, sorry.
Hello. My name is Harold Charlo. I live at 3610 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana, and I came here tonight to reconnect with the board. We've been here for several years, and it's been a while, and particularly to meet with Lorraine about getting on the agenda for the Highway Committee. I presented everybody with a document that is the traffic model for the Olympian Drive, Lincoln Avenue projects. And as a resident of the area, we are concerned. I've marked the middle chart that says when Olympian Drive and Lincoln Avenue are completed. These are the traffic projections for when Olympian is completed and Lincoln Avenue is completed. And the concerning part to us is the last figure where it says Lincoln Avenue north of Olympian Drive. And they're projecting there's going to be 3,560 vehicles a day using Lincoln Avenue north of the intersection. Lincoln Avenue now, we've done measurements on the road. It's an oil and chip road. It's about 18.7 inches wide throughout the major part of the project up to Ford Harris Road, and it's just incapable of handling that type of traffic. With the project could be completed as soon as 2 years. We just believe that the county needs to, Highway Committee needs to address this because it's just going to be a dangerous situation. Existing right now, you're going to have the Olympian Drive intersection will be 32 feet wide, and right now, if you narrow it down to an 18.7-inch road, you're going to really have some troubles. So I just want to reconnect with that, and then we will be at Lorraine's committee meeting on May the 10th, I believe, at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Charlo. Mr. James Kilgore.
Thank you. Good evening. James Kilgore, 511 South Draper. This week, a report came out on restorative justice practice in the state of Illinois. And Champaign County came in for quite a lot of praise, actually, particularly for juvenile justice programs, the peer court and parenting with love and limits in particular. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a project that I've been working on as part of the task force and in the community as well that builds on this restorative practice. And that's a project that we have tentatively called Safe Return Home. And it's a reentry project for people coming back from state prison. Last year, there was 442 people released from the IDOC into Champaign County. And the recidivism rate for the state of Illinois is 47%, which means that after 3 years, out of those 442, we could expect about 208 of those people to be rearrested or reincarcerated. Now, that's, and those people, if they're arrested either for a violation of parole or for a new crime, they go to the county jail. So that's just about one jail full of people, since our daily population is around 225. So what we're trying to look at is a way to shore up the services that are available to these people, that presently, to our accounting, less than 100 people have any kind of considerable amount of support. Statistics show that about 1 in 7 people coming out of prison has a job lined up. About 40% don't have stable housing lined up. And when they're released, they get $50 and a bus ticket. So what we're proposing is to have some kind of a one-stop, first-stop service that would provide people with access to housing and employment opportunities, but most of all would provide some kind of emotional and psychological support to help people transition, which is a very difficult transition. And we're proposing to build on what's been done by the Peer Court and by other reentry projects across the country, and that is to make use of peer mentors. So we want to train formerly incarcerated people. We want to train them properly to serve as what we're calling success facilitators, to be able to provide support for people as they come out. And this is a service that's sorely lacking in the county at the moment. Now, as we see it, there are at least 4 outcomes that would come from this. First, as I noted, it would be a reduced flow of people into the county jail. Secondly, it would be moving toward a shift in the way in which we think about criminal justice in the county. That is, instead of looking for ways to punish people, instead of assuming that they're going to be guilty or make mistakes, we're providing support and trying to give them the kinds of resources and support they need to actually succeed. So it's a restorative type of process rather than a punitive one. Thirdly, it contributes to public safety, because by reducing the likelihood of these people being rearrested or reincarcerated, we're also reducing the possibility that they might be committing crimes and increasing the possibility that they might be making meaningful contributions to the community. And lastly, and quite importantly, I think, dealing with reentry is also a way of dealing with the racial disparity in our county jail. Statewide, I've FOIA'd the statistics for Champaign County, but statewide, the African American population is 15% in the general population, but it's 58% of people on parole. I suspect that the figures in Champaign County will be very similar, since that's about what the figures are for the population in the jail. And therefore, by stemming the flow of people who have come back from prison into the county jail, we will also be dealing with the racial disparities and decreasing the disproportionate numbers of African Americans in the jail by promoting and creating a constructive program. So this project is likely to be coming your way as part of what the Community Justice Task Force is going to be putting forth, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and I hope you will consider it and support it when it comes, and think about the fact that putting resources into reentry is a much better long-term investment for public safety than building jails.
Thank you, Mr. Kilgore. Marlon Mitchell, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marlon Mitchell. I'm the prison director of prison ministry for Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, which is located at 808 East Bradley here in Champaign. And I had an opportunity last night to sit in on Dr. Kalmanoff's meeting and there were a lot of questions and a lot of different topics that were being addressed. But one common theme that was addressed over and over again was this thing about racial disparity. Now, back in January of this year, the Planners Network, the U of I Planner Network, went in and they grabbed some figures from the county jail. And there were 242 individuals that were incarcerated at the time. And of that, 69% were African American, and the remaining was 31% were either white or Hispanic or other. So March 30th, I went in and I pulled a snapshot myself, and the population was 255. 62% were African American, and the remaining 38 was either white, Latino, or other. So what I did was I either broke the data down a little further, and about 20% of those individuals that were being incarcerated were for traffic violations. So I was a little curious as to why was the number so unbalanced. So what I did was I went to the county circuit clerk and I pulled my own arrest record as far as traffic violations. I went back 5 years, back to 2007. I was pulled over 8 different times. 6 of the 8, I was pulled over within a radius of 1 mile of my home. I live in Garden Hills neighborhood. And I have all the arrests or the stops and the tickets that I received, and I just want you all to pay close attention to the dates. June 24th, 2007. July 27th, 2007. April 12th, 2008. June 29th, 2008. June 25th, 2011. April 29th, 2011. July 13th, 2011. And August 14th, 2011. The reason these dates are important is because this is when the weather becomes a little warmer and police activity picks up in our neighborhood, in my neighborhood. And not all of these traffic stops were legit, but yet I was given tickets. So what I wanted to just bring to your attention and give you some insight as to why the disproportionate numbers of county jail. And those 6 out of 8 was within my neighborhood. I spent over almost $1,100 on fees and traffic tickets within that 5-year span. So one of the questions I posed to Dr. Kalmanoff was, to my knowledge, there has not been a task force, a racial disparity task force to research and look into situations, the practices, and perhaps the policies that we have here in Champaign County to address this issue. Because as you know, with the jail, with the request for building onto the jail, there's 20 to 25% on a daily basis over in the county jail that are there for traffic violations. So I just wanted to give you all some introspect, or from my perspective, as to why. So I'm just glad that, I've been blessed enough to have a job to pay these traffic tickets, but many of us don't. And if I didn't, I would be one of those 20 to 25%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell. Does anybody else have public participation? Mr. Charlo, you've already spoken. I'm sorry. Thank you. Is there any other public participation? All right, it is closed. Thank you. Let's move on to communications. Mr. Hartke.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I also attended the meeting last night. I was one of the 4 members of this board who did. I want to remind everybody some meetings that were not listed here. April 30th will be our study session regarding the delivery of the draft report. I certainly hope we have better attendance than we have at our last 2 study sessions where we've had difficulty getting quorum. I also would encourage people to attend the May 2nd community meeting in this room, where we're going to basically do the same thing as last night and engage the community and find out their needs. Now, it's hard for me to go to the community and say that the county board is going to listen to you and what you want us to do when only 4 of the 22 members of this board show up to these meetings. I realize people have a lot of things going on, and that's important, but we all volunteered to take these jobs, and that's part of the job. The sheriff was there, Deb was there, the state's attorney was there, But they do not have votes on what we're going to be doing on this. We do. So I would encourage people to please attend these meetings and listen to the community and hear what they have to say about these issues. Thank you.
Any other communication? At this point, I have two. One, Ms. Berkson, Mr. Quisenberry, Mr. Kibler, and Mr. Richards have been asked to be excused from tonight's meeting. They sent me an email. Secondly, I don't know if you've noticed in the newspapers just recently that the Schnucks grocery store was hacked for multi-millions of credit card numbers. Well, it came home to roost to me this morning. So I want to make you all aware that this is an ongoing problem. PNC Bank called me and sent me an email on a security alert this morning blocking my credit card because this is sort of almost surreal. Someone in Washington, D.C. used my credit card to try and purchase online from Starbucks $16,000 worth of something. And I'm saying that number, $16,000. Well, I guess it was flagged for a good reason, but nevertheless, there might be other accounts compromised for much smaller amounts that might get by. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or to check the system to see if it'll be flagged or not, but PNC called me immediately and let me know that my card would be replaced with a new number. So if you have done any business with Schnucks, take a close look at your accounts, make sure there's nothing unusual going on, or if you wish, just call PNC or your local bank for replacement of your credit card or debit card. The debit card's the most significant one because that's attached to your, most likely your checking account, and they can pull out every dollar that you have very quickly. So if you have a debit card that you use over at Schnucks, I would definitely get that changed. So just wanted to make the board aware, and you want to spread that word. That's all I have for communications. Is there anyone else? Okay, let's move on. We're going to pass number 10. We don't have the minutes at this point, and next month we will bring those to you. So we're going to move on to the standing committees. Mr. Langenheim, please. Microphone, please, Mr. Langenheim.
Is this thing working? Yes, it is. Okay. I move approval of resolution number 8470, minor changes to the Champaign County Land Resource Management Plan. These are indeed minor changes.
Second.
Need a second? Second, Mr. Esri. Thank you.
Okay. These are indeed minor changes, updating the LRMP to include things that are already in the zoning ordinance, updating municipal corporate boundaries based on annexations during the last year, and revising contiguous urban growth area north of Mahomet that's been cut back by Mahomet. That's what it consists of. These minor changes are important and should be approved.
Thank you. Any discussion on that resolution? Ms. Petrie?
Mr. Chair, did we skip over approval of minutes?
We skipped those approval of minutes because we don't have them, and we're going to present them to you next month.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Highway, Ms. Cowart?
The highway has nothing for the board consideration. Everything is on the consent agenda.
All right, let's move on to policy. Ms. Petrie?
I wonder if Ms. Cowart would share with the whole board what she shared with us at caucus concerning the discussion on I-57 and I-72. I mean 74. Thanks.
Okay, at the highway committee, we talked about, the cloverleaf, exits on, I-74 and I-57, that a lot of accidents have been happening over, on that stretch of the highway. Jeff Blue talked to IDOC about, about trying to find a solution for that problem. It was brought to the attention of the Highway Department by, was it Chris? Yeah. By Chris. And the IDOC said they would look into it and try to find a way to correct that part of it, those clover leaf. But the problem is that they don't have the funding for it. And it would cost about $60 million to correct it. And as soon as they can come up with a way to fund it, then they're gonna solve that problem.
Thank you, Ms. Coward. Mr. Alex?
If I could follow on to that, one thing that they did indicate was that they may look into better signage or potentially the overspeed flashing light signs as a somewhat cheaper than $60 million alternative.
Thank you. Anything else, Lorraine? We out? Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Quisenberry and Mr. Kibler are absent this evening. Mr. Alex, would you please do policy for me?
I would love to. I
I
move
knew you
adoption
would. Thank
of
you.
resolution number 8487, authorizing the appointment of Shauna Carey to the Fine Arts Reviews Committee for Lincoln Hall Restoration Project and the Electrical and Computer Engineering Building Project.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please? Second by Ms. Cowart. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Move adoption of resolution number 8488, authorizing the appointment of Melvin Skvarla to the Fine Arts Review Committees for the Lincoln Hall Restoration Project and the Electrical and Computer Engineering Building Project.
I have a second, please. Mr. Mitchell, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion opposed to the second one. Okay, thank you. Mr. Alex, you want to, as that's it for, I think, for policy, you want to move on to finance, please?
Move adoption of resolution number 8493, payment of claims authorization.
Second.
Second by Mr. Esri. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Move adoption of resolution number 8494, purchases not following the purchasing policy.
Second by
I'll do
Ms.
it.
Michaels. Thank you. Sorry. You can turn off your microphone now, Mr. Langenheim. Thank you. Any discussion on that resolution? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then finally, in other business, adoption of Resolution 8497, approving the proclamation designating the week of May 12th as National Police Week. Like a motion? So moves Mr. James. Second? Ms. Cowart. All right. Any discussion? All in favor of the resolution? I'm sorry, Ms. Petrie.
Thank you. Is this something that we do every year?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's sort of an automatic?
Pretty much, yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And any new business? I'm looking for an adjournment here. So moved. Thank you. That is very nice. 7:36, 7:34. We need to do this more often.